someone came in the door. How about that? We have another senatorial candidate with us. In fact, we served together in the legislature. A very good friend and a candidate for the U.S. Senate, Dan Severson.
Tonight you've had some rousing political speeches. It's great to see some energy and some new blood coming into the legislature. Mike and all the rest of you guys, great job this last 2 years. You know, we've seen some battles, and Dave, good to see you back there, sir. And Carla, I'll kind of keep it brief. I know you've been hearing speeches all night, but you know, part of this process has been why run for the U.S. Senate, and it kind of starts back in 2010 when I ran for Secretary of State. And in that process, we won the outstate. We won the greater Minnesota, but we lost the inner city. And from that, I started to work with a community called the Hmong community. I actually went into an agricultural venture with them, and I went over to Laos, and we did an agricultural venture trying to improve the pork production in Laos. And I got to know this community. And from that process, I began an outreach into the minority communities in the inner city, and found that there are a lot of minority groups, and there are very conservative people. And yet the Democrats have been knocking at their door for the last 20 years. And they have been gaining their confidence, and they have been moving in. And you know, you've got minority communities here in Rochester. You've got communities over in Mankato, St. Cloud, Wilmer, Winona, down in Austin. We've got minority communities that the Republican Party has never touched before. And so part of that process, I went to Tony Sutton in March of last year, and I said, you know what, I'm beginning to see a trend here. I think that we can move the needle on these minority communities. Give me a chance to go out and start interfacing with them. We put together a minority outreach in the Republican Party, and for 3 months we got together and we got people from all of those communities to come down and sit together at a table. And it was amazing, because they go, you're Republicans? We are Republicans. In fact, they wanted to put up a billboard that had the Somali and some of the Latino on there, and they said, we are Republicans. Imagine that. In the inner city, a billboard that says, we are Republicans. You change the face of Minneapolis. You change the way people look at the Republican Party. And that's what's important about this race. Because in this race, when I ran when I said we're going to do this next May, and this is going to be a major impetus in this campaign, this Senate run, because unless we do this as a Republican Party, we don't win another statewide race. You take a look at 1990, the minority population in Minnesota, 6%. 2008, 17%. And we haven't done anything to reach out to them. And so when you look at 2000, and you look at 98, you look at 2002, we won some statewide races, didn't we? 2006, Governor Pawlenty, incumbent, wins by 40,000 votes. 2008, Norm Coleman gets unseated. 2010, 4 statewide races, not one of them. And the trend is only moving towards more. And so if we don't get a hold on this, if we don't as a Republican Party have the vision to reach out to this, we are going to be relegated to the second class, the permanent minority. Not just at the statewide race, but at the legislative race as well. And we can have an impact on those legislative races. Poggemiller exited his, you know, when he found out that it was no fun being in the minority anymore, decided to give up his job down there. They put a young college student in down there, and we said, you know, we're going to test this theory. So we went down with my campaign and helped him campaign 2 weeks before Christmas. The next day after we were in the community down there, Dayton, Klobuchar, and Ellison all came down with their candidate and were door knocking the area. You know what that means? That means that when they see their area starting to be targeted, they're going to have to respond. And they're going to take resources from Rochester, they're going to take resources from St. Cloud, they're going to take resources from the other parts of the state to defend these inner city seats that they've never had to defend before. This is a long-term strategy. And if we want to win this Senate seat this time around, and if we want to win the next 5 statewide races that are in 2014, this is something we have to start now, and we have to have our nose committed to doing this process. And so part of this has been, you know, a dysfunction of a Republican Party that's out of money and let the funding go and hasn't made it a priority. We picked it up in our campaign. And I'll tell you, of the 3 campaigns, we are the only one that can win this statewide race. Some of the competition says, well, he can't raise money. Well, that's not true. We just got endorsed by Dick Morris. We're raising money from that. We got supported by Herman Camen's 999 plan. We're raising money from that. We got supported by the American, what is it, the
Land rights.
Land Rights. The American Land Rights Association. And they're helping us with fundraising. So we're getting the national attention that it needs to begin to put our eyes on this thing. But I'll tell you, the philosophy, the strategy in this race is a grassroots campaign. For the last year, we've been running around the state at tea parties and at grassroots events, getting known, getting people energized about this, telling them that Klobuchar can be beat. And when we get that grassroots ignited and we get it within the 5-point margin, the rest of the country is going to look and they're going to say, Minnesota has that 60th vote. Yeah, Minnesota was the state that cost us Obamacare because they put Al Franken in, he was the 60th vote. How appropriate should that be? That Minnesota is the 60th vote that takes it out. So I'm just here to tell you, the other 2 candidates are great candidates, but they're not good enough. They're not good enough to win this seat in November. This one is. I can do it. I need your support to do that. And I'm hoping that I can get your support at the state convention this weekend. And we will take the fight to Klobuchar, and we will win this Senate seat in November. Thank you so much.